everybody, and welcome to Plaid Stallions Toy Ventures. It's been a bumpy road these past few weeks, so I've been spending a lot of time with my family. And that included this past weekend where my wife whisked me away to Buffalo, New York for an event called the Great American Garage Sale. I was not born in Buffalo, but I was raised on its TV like a lot of Toronto kids, and I'm a big fan of the town. Also, my wife and I have been coming to Antique World, where the garage sale has been going on, for over 30 years. Yikes. So this has a lot of special meaning to us. My wife is always on the hunt for mid-century Christmas and Halloween, and me, I'm here for the toys, but also mainly just to be in this element. I just love being at these kind of events. We arrived a day before the event, and we did the typical Canadian tourist shopping thing. Trips to Walmart, Target, Taps Friendly Market. But also, I managed to get to this cool vintage toy shop in Tonawanda called That 80s Toy Shop. I haven't been here in a long time, and I'm glad to see it still doing well. It's a small space, but it is tidily packed with collectible toys from the 1960s until now. The owners graciously allowed me to do some filming, so let's take a tour of what I saw, and I'll tell you what tempted me at the end. I really don't feel I did this store justice in this filming. It's mainly because a lot of their great vintage, and they have some amazing pieces, is under a cabinet, and I really didn't want to bother the staff and make them pull everything out to shoot it. They had a lot of higher-end boxed vintage toys in that cabinet, and a lot of it was stuff I collected. Some of the things that were really tempting me were the boxed 5-inch Shogun Warrior die-casts in the box. I don't collect those, but I have been thinking about them. So this would have been kind of a big decision. The other thing that was really nice to see was the boxed James Bond Moonraker Jaws, carded Staroids, and I couldn't film it, but there was actually like a black hole star and a Micronauts Lobros in the case, and those are just things you don't come across that often. However, I came to this store the day before the actual event I wanted to go to, and I think that messes with your collector brain. You don't want to spend all your money there. What if you find something tomorrow? I think I should have gone to this shop after the Great American Garage Sale, not before. However, I did pick up one thing, and that was a NECA Tron figure, just so that my Tron figure could have the staff. They're nearly identical. I don't need an original vintage. I'm fine with this. And now my figure's complete. If you are within driving distance of this shop, please check it out. It is well worth the visit. And now on to the big event. The next day was the Great American Garage Sale at Clarence Antique World. This is the largest garage sale in New York State. They have this 3 times in the summer, usually the first weekend of every month. And honestly, I'm kind of bummed when I miss these because they're amazing. People come from all over, they bring all kinds of things. You never know what you're going to find, and you never leave with what you thought you would. But you're always really happy, and this was no exception. The great thing about Clarence Antique World is they have some amazing dealers inside that are there year-round. Combining that with the variety of the outdoor vendors is just such a perfect mix. You just don't know what you're going to find, and there's a lot of surprises around the corner. So here is my montage, and then after I will get into our pickups and the things that got away. Hang tight. Hey everyone, just a quick reminder, if you like this channel and what I do, please consider checking out my shop. I have 11 issues of Toy Ventures magazine available, as well as 2 books, multiple action figures, and a series of collector pins. I'll put the link to the shop in the description, and I thank you for considering it. This is footage of my friend Dan's booth, and he's had a booth here for a long time, and he has an incredible assortment of toys. He's very fair with prices, and it really is a very social atmosphere. Visiting his booth is definitely worth the trip on its own. It's just made sweeter by having this event. And next to him was another dealer who had the thing that really tempted me, which was the Remco Earthquake Tower. This is a gigantic playset from 1976, meant to capitalize on the Irwin Allen disaster movies of the time. Unfortunately, the seller was a little worried about its completeness and wanted to inspect it before he sold it to me, and I just said I'd come back another day and get it. I really needed to know how complete it was anyways, and obviously a piece this big, this gigantic, I can't begin to describe, would attract suspicion at the border, and I'd better have a good story, so I just thought, I'll get it another time, and I will be back this summer. In terms of pickups, my wife and I had a rare day where we both got some really fun stuff. She picked up some great Halloween and Christmas decorations. I totally remember having something similar to this Santa as a kid. This girly candle of a ghost, we actually have a blow mold of this. So that was kind of cool. My wife did ask, if you know how to clean a girly candle, please add it to the comments below, because we'd like to make this guy look new again. And finally, this guy. This is very much why my wife collects Christmas stuff. It has a little bit of a creepiness to it at times, and well, I'm kind of nervous around this dude. So the first thing I picked up at the show was a bit of a shock. I found a carded Bugmen of Insecta figure. This is a 1984 toy line by Multiple Toys that's likely meant to cash in on He-Man and Insectars. I was a teenager at the time when they came out, but I really remember being taken aback by their dime store schlockiness. I've been a champion of this line for years, but the pricing is always a little outrageous, and this was just right place, right time for this carded Carniva, King of the Tiger Beetles. I think this is just a fantastic figure and presentation. I'm just thrilled to be able to have picked up at least one of these characters on the card. It's not something I ever expect to complete, but this is a fun little dime store action figure line that is very on brand for not only me, but this channel, so I'm really glad I found this. I also managed to pick up the last 2 Flash Gordon figures I needed for my Mattel Flash Gordon line. That is Captain Arak and Vultan, King of the Hawkmen. I picked up the 2 of them for about $35, which is really fair. And, you know, I know that Vultan is missing his wings. They always are, and I'm very hopeful that somebody like Tiny Plastic Man or someone else reproduces them so that I could actually just have a guilt-free Vultan. I'm not a hardcore fan of this line, so a reproduction set of wings is not going to really bug me. Not only do I love the cartoon that this figure line is based on, but I also think this line is actually one of like Mattel's more fly-under-the-radar action figure lines of the 1970s, and it's beautifully done, but also just a tad odd. At my friend Dan's booth, I always find interesting things that I will not find anywhere else, and this was no exception. The first thing I picked up from him was the Biotronic Man. This was made by Tootsie Toy, and yes, it's a Bionic Man knockoff figure, if you haven't figured that already. They took some of their play sets and customized them in the late 1970s to create like a Bionic Man parody. They also did kind of a Flash Gordon Star Wars thing. They're really neat, and I don't need the whole toy, but I did love picking up this figurine of fake Steve Austin. Also, now for 2 years in a row, I bought a weird bootleg gorilla item from Dan. I would love to know if anyone recognizes this piece. Dan kind of thought it was maybe a children's candy dispenser. It looks a lot like something Whammo made, or at least they're trying to imitate that. But, 70s Kong-influenced toys are right up my alley, and this was the fastest $10 I spent this weekend. I mentioned the Earthquake Tower and thinking about that for the majority of the day, and I ended up passing on it for now. But that seller did have something I actually really wanted, and that was the $6 Million Man Turbo Tower of Power set with the vehicles and everything like that. Everyone but the figures themselves, which luckily I already had. I love 3 3/4 inch $6 Million Man, and I don't remember this toy as a kid, or else I probably would have had to have it. It's just a wonderful, goofy 70s design. I love everything about it. I do not know if I can get this to work, and that really doesn't matter to me. It's more of a display piece. While the loose Bigfoot figure was actually able to stand, the Steve Austin is just in a permanent crouch, so he really doesn't display well. And it looks much better, the two of them sitting in the ramp on the vehicles like this. So there you have it, folks. That is my trip to Buffalo and the Great American Garage Sale. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you for watching this video all the way through. I would like to ask a question before I go. What is the one item that you would have taken away from this event? You can let me know in the comments here below or in the Pod Stallions Facebook group. No wrong way to do it. I'd love to hear from you. That's it for this week. If you're new to this, please consider hitting like and subscribe. If you're not new, please consider hitting like and share. It really helps us out. I'll be back next week with a new video and a podcast. Until that time, be well and talk toys, not other people. Cheers.